Fred, we turned to Kentucky after enough talk about the Alabama game. What are some of the keys for the Vols as they get ready for the Cats?
Well, the recipe for success has been running for over 200 yards a game. And every game we ran for over 200 yards, we've actually won. So those are the things I look for keys, as well as getting out the football field on third downs and staying kind of very consistent and close when it comes to time of possession. If we're going to have a big disparity in time of possession, we're going to need to have that, had to put some points on the board. I look to see that Nico needs to hit some deep balls downfield, I think, to help stretch the defense a little bit and also open up some holes
Or did you
for our
mean
running
Joe?
game.
Did you mean Joe?
I'm sorry, I meant Joe.
Wow, subtle, subconscious, Fred.
Freudian slip.
I meant Joe. I've been hearing all this Nico talk all week, and this has been like, look, we're going with whoever he puts on the football field. And I think we have what we need to do as far as winning the game. Our offensive line needs to play very well, and we have to run the ball very well.
Fred, before I get to my point, I actually had to ask you a totally random question since I know you said you were a Jay-Z fan. Did you see earlier this week where Jay-Z finally told everybody on Twitter who said they would take dinner with him over $500,000? He was like, guys, take the $500,000 and then just listen to my music to learn how to invest it properly.
I agree with Jay-Z. I agree from the
that.
beginning. You give me $500,000, I know what to do with it. I don't need the dinner with you. I can listen to what you say in your interviews from them going forward.
Yeah, 500,000. It's going to be dinner with Cindy Crawford in her prime, and it's going to be more than dinner. Fred, I felt like this team at times last week faced a different defensive front as Alabama started walking people up to stop the run, which you had mentioned Tennessee had been so good against the run. As it turns out, Kentucky is very good against the run, horrible against the pass, like 12th in the SEC. Mm-hmm. I think this really could be Joe Milton's game to shine as well. I'm not discounting the running game, but I think he could have some real opportunities here.
Well, I think you need to be able to hit some deep balls down the football field against their secondary in order to be able to run the ball efficiently. Every team that we play going forward is going to load the box when it comes to our running game because we've had success doing so. Like I said, when we had 200-plus yards rushing, we won those games. And I'm just feeling that that's what every team going forward is going to do. This is a copycat league, and any team that stopped us has loaded up against the run and told us to beat us with the pass. So we need to figure out who's going to step up when it comes to receivers. I like to see us use our tight ends a little bit more in this game. I think they can open up the middle of the football field, something that we don't use a lot. I know we spread the football around on the outsides and those type of things and get those long screen plays and things like that. But I'd like to see us be able to utilize the middle of the football field with some mismatches with our big tight ends. I'd like to see our guy, Warren, get some balls down the middle of the football field there. I mean, I think that will open up our defense, our offense a little bit more as well. But I hope that those are things that we have in the works coming up for the next part of the season here.
Before I get to Caleb, Jacob, what do you think about that?
What's up, everybody? This is Jacob Warren asking you to like, subscribe, and share. Dave needs this.
He does. Caleb?
Fred, which one of these things weighs more heavily to you? Are you more encouraged from last week's game by how Joe Milton was able to finally, it seemed, find his rhythm by utilizing his legs? It kind of spread the defense out and opened up more opportunities for him to throw the ball downfield. Or are you more discouraged by the fact that, I mean, I hate to say it, but it just seemed like the interior of Tennessee's offensive line got pushed around by Alabama last week on Saturday?
I think I'm going to go with a half full rather than a half empty. I'm glad Joe did use his legs because anytime you have a quarterback that can run, it changes the way you call the game as a defensive coordinator. You look at our defense, we didn't blitz any in the second half because they have a guy who can move with his legs. I kind of hate that because I feel like guys that can run, you blitz them because they'll make a mistake for you at some point if they can run, especially if they're not very accurate with the pass. But I'm going to go with the fact that Joe ran more. Now, I don't want to see him lower his shoulder so many times on a defensive back, but at least get the yardage, fall forward, and try the best. The best runners find ways to avoid contact or getting hit. Don't be scared, of course, but don't just lower the boom just because you want to show people you're tough. Be smart about the game. This game is a brutal game, and you may run up on a small DB that'll pop you.
So, do you think last week? What do you think about Tennessee on the other side, the front seven? I think I saw it just seemed like they got a little tired in the second half last week. Do you have faith? It's going to, Kentucky's got maybe the best running back in college football right now in Ray Davis. Do you think that? How much faith do you have in the Amari Thomases and the Bryson Easons and even the Aaron Beasleys at the second tier to shut down this running game of Kentucky's?
Well, in order for us to be good, we had to be good in the front seven. Our defensive line hasn't played well in order for us to have a chance to win this game. This is Kentucky, and Kentucky has come with a running game pretty much every year we played them. The times we won against them, we've shut down their running game. This will be no different. This will be in their house, though. This is a 7:00 game. They will be rowdy. If you've never been to a Kentucky game at night, it's a fun time up there, and they support their football team until they get behind. So in order for us to win this game, you literally need to go out there and put some points up on the board and make their crowd be quiet. Because if not, they're going to be in if you let them linger and stay in the game, it's done.
Yeah, you need a clean up in quarter one at Kroger Field, if you know what I mean. See what I did there, Fred?
You need to be up at least 14 points in the first quarter. The longer you let them stay in the game, the louder their crowd will be. And if you're going into the fourth quarter and they're still in the game, it's going to be a rowdy crowd. They will be drunk off good bourbon, I promise you.
Yeah, there's pretty good bourbon up there. Fred, I stated that Tennessee without Brew McCoy probably doesn't have one receiver on the outside in particular that truly scares a secondary. Have you seen anybody that can be that guy? I think Ramel Keaton's solid, don't get me wrong. I think the freshmen and Nimrod and Webb are going to be good, but I don't know that on the outside. I think Squirrel's very good at the slot, but I don't know that the outside that any secondary is scared of those guys. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I mean, you haven't given much to be scared of if it's for this season. Now, last season people did kind of fear us because you had those guys on the outside and you can work one-on-one on the inside, against a third DB. This year you're the man. I mean, I kind of equate this to when you see a guy get drafted or, for instance, traded to another team, right? And he's the man now, and he's getting number one coverage as far as double cover it if you need to, or the best DB that you're going up against every week instead of the number 3 defensive back that you're going against every week. You got to step your game up. I mean, that's the point blank. That's it. You got to step your game up. I spoke to one of the greatest receivers ever played at the University of Tennessee, probably one of the greatest athletes. And that's Carl Pickens. And we talked about, catching the ball. Does a quarterback ever throw the ball too hard for you? Now, I know this is Carl Pickens, like I said, one of the greatest receivers that ever played at UT. The NFL Rookie of the Year on offense, those type of things. But he told me that if you can catch, you can catch. Regardless of how hard you throw, how soft you throw, how high, how low. And that was his thought process. So I know this may not equate to everyone, but he is one of the greatest to ever play the game. And to hear him say that, that's the standard, in my opinion.
No doubt about that. I agree with that. And maybe I was too hard on Joe Milton earlier in the year, and I thought that you and Spencer Riley, to some extent, kind of set me straight or my thinking straight, because you both said the same thing. If it hits you in the hands, you should be able to catch it.